playlist today. Look at Kyle back there, man. He's like into this. Well, if you have so I was just gonna say, if you have a flash drive, I actually have my adapter today, so we can use that. Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I have a USB-C. So if you have a USB-C, will go directly, but if not, I've got an adapter today. Oh, wait. It was asking me to mirror, which is different. Okay, now it's doing this again. I don't know what he did.
Yay.
Oh my God, I don't know what he did, but we got it. Whew. Kyle to the rescue. We got to figure out what he did. Every time I Top Gun Maverick or the original Top Gun, but what did you do? It just needed a nice. So I see some faces. Some might have four like raise their hands. Yes.
Yes.
Bringing balloons with you?
Oh.
Yeah, it works. Now we don't have to deal with that technical issue.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, hopefully you don't have to buy a projector, but maybe you know.
Well, we might if people want to do a. Uh-oh.
Okay, it was around the principal for Kate, if she comes.
Oh, I got that already.
Okay.
I put her in the keynote speaker. So we're gonna have Friends at Columbia Tap, Cage Elementary, and then Easton District.
Okay, sounds good. She sent the flyer. So I just sent it to you. She's bringing them, but.
She's bringing in. We'll just send that out.
Okay.
Because there wasn't anybody there.
I don't know if you want to, because she's been asking about it, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
we can
I
have.
definitely do.
Okay, good. So, yeah, so just let her know, and then that
And
will.
I actually passed on I'm no longer the block talking with my block. We gave it to Lisa.
Well, you also been taking over the one somewhere else, the one at Mandolas. Yes, so you're kind of.
I was doing three.
You're kind of like a step captain. Okay,
I like the idea of coordinator better.
I like that. Well, I just say like for the ones you're in charge, but then you oversee your side, so you're coordinator. What else?
No coordinating.
No, yeah, I'm kind of like, okay.
You reminded me something, so it's definitely close.
We just help each other, that's good. Okay, that's one. I added one for that. I added one for the community.
I added some stuff to the comms, I did communications, slide, it's just like a bullet list. Some of it might be brand new. To you. I forgot what I almost forgot the school.
I wasn't the email today.
Yeah, so
Yes, because I want to make sure I follow up.
I meant to call him tomorrow today. I called him like 2 or 3 days ago.
A teacher? I haven't talked to her. Let me see if I can trust her.
She doesn't have. She doesn't have to know too much. I just if she had a connection.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, I got I called Austin and they said they don't want to pick it up, but they were just related messages, the way it goes, like, they,
We're here.
the AP,
That's fine.
the AP instruction.
Well, I mean, if you don't have anything like really meaningful, like that's. Yeah. What's up, Ricky?
And then, and that's what they send out information.
Long time no see.
That's what I remember. I think that's what I know.
For a basic stuff, like it's like, if they have like a.
You good?
Yeah, how about you?
Good.
Just like the last newsletter you sent out, like 30 or, and so thinking about how ours looks so bad. Compared to all the resources you list.
You can copy as much as benefits you want.
Okay. I mean, I might have to, yeah, something like that.
We should cross pollinate.
One thing I know.
Oh, well, we can put that next time. It's easy to add. Yeah, if you want to start putting that on there.
Replying, I've got the trains, space, I've got email, I've got text, I mean, let's just compile it into one.
Have you looked at the events calendar yet on the website?
Start using it and then.
So much on there. I might have to split it up between like community meetings and community events. I have to figure that out. Because there's so much on there. But yeah, I basically connected the calendar, the super neighborhood calendar to it. And now it's just like all just shows. So I just add stuff to the calendar and I just like add it on mine and then just send it over and then add it. It's so fun. I was getting really carried away.
Also, I already have it for. Like this, friends on them,
Yes.
and also I'm on the.
Yeah.
So it's like, just like we can make different chat channels.
Okay, so the hashtags are.
And you want to talk to an individual person, you gotta be on at the bottom, and then it's all people that are in the.
Okay.
I'd like random flyers and stuff. What would be the best?
If you have a bunch of flyers, we have the table up front, but I didn't know if you wanted to,
Okay,
if you wanted to introduce yourself too, you can also pass it
yeah, I
out.
can do that. Just let people know I have.
So I'm gonna put you under the elected officials, Levi with. precinct.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I'll just let them know what kind of flyers I have.
Got it. Gotcha.
Notifications on that thing.
And then I, since I emailed. I applied.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. It's been a day. But yeah, no, I think that'd be super fun.
I think we should make sure, the only thing I had was to make sure we include, the council members.
Yeah,
Since
on board,
both of those parks are in,
on board.
they're in,
There's some in H and some in I.
two parks you mentioned, I think are both in.
Oh, wait.
You said city gas?
Oh, those two. Yeah, those two. Yeah, I was just throwing some out there. I think those would be really great starts and then we can take it from there. But yeah, no, let's throw the council members in there.
Okay, and so already Oscar has award ceremony next week, not this weekend, but next weekend, it's gonna San Antonio, and so that's the only time I can fit it in. So I'm leaving on Sunday morning. Yeah.
No problem, I mean,
Okay.
we'll survive. Do you have any, do you have any Eastwood voice? Passions or anything?
No, I haven't got something, so I'll make a summary of last meetings and this meeting, and then I'll just kind of like,
Just like bullet points.
yeah, just bullet points, and then I'll just be like, this is it, like, something, yeah, kind of things, and then stuff. And then, so I'll have it ready by Sunday, so you guys can.
Reggie, mine. No, it'll be okay. Did you?
No.
I don't know, I got here early because we always have technical issues, you know? Hi.
It's straight and we're gonna be doing a presentation.
Yeah.
So you got what you in terms of being able to do the presentation.
Do y'all have you said you have a flash drive? Yeah, we'll go ahead and just plug it in here and we'll get it ready. So come up with your.
I'll take the girl.
Ah, you would think that I don't use this all the time, but I use this all the time. Cause for some reason Apple was like, oh, we're not gonna.
Yeah, like no USB, right?
No USBs. Cool.
Are you working through like the Google Slides or? Yeah.
I usually use Google Slides because my workplace doesn't have Microsoft Office,
Oh, okay.
which I know people are like, what? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yep. Which
Cool.
is unique.
Yeah.
Come on. But I can usually open things. Oh, it's giving me the beach ball. Give it a minute.
Oh.
That's fine. It might just take a second to open. We'll be all right.
I'm Jason Martin.
I'm Lindsay.
Eastern District.
Nice to meet
I
ya.
think we met. at
We've met a couple
yeah,
times, I think.
yeah. So I'm here now.
Yeah,
I know you-
oh, that's great.
You're really pushing for us to come out, so we're here today.
Yeah, I'm sorry, say that again?
We're here today to do the
Good.
presentation.
No, that's perfect. We were working with Ricky. I work with Ricky on like a
Okay.
million other different
Oh, good.
things. So, do y'all,
Bill, nice to meet you.
so y'all are gonna do the presentation on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, see, now I opened it like 6 times. All right, we're good. We're good. We got this.
So it's a total 6 slides?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
cool.
Cool.
Let's make it.
Cool. Thank you for that.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Hello, Megan.
So we have a new PA system because the microphones never work. So we're gonna get started in about 3 minutes. So go ahead and get comfortable, listen to the fun music, and we'll see where everybody is. Three people sighting in. Matthew had to run off to Orlando. Uh-oh, do we not have quorum? Do we not have quorum? Do we not have quorum?
No, we do.
Oh.
We do. I was just wondering. That was.
He ran off. He had to run off to Orlando, he said. Emily's not gonna be there. Clay is not gonna be here.
He's not gonna be, okay. Oh, so then everyone.
All right, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I know there's still a couple people signing in, but we have a really big agenda. A lot of information to cover with y'all, but thankfully I talk really fast, so I think we're gonna be covered on this front. So I see a lot of new faces, so I'm just gonna say really quick, my name is Lindsay Williams. I'm the president of the Eastwood Civic Association. I'm sure you've seen me around in some way, shape, or form. We also have several of our Eastwood Civic Association board members around. If y'all just wanna raise your hands for our new folks who've never been here. We have a number of our board members that can also answer questions and just help you with anything that you might have in terms of the neighborhood. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're officially calling to order just for our meeting minutes. We're gonna go through, just kind of say hey to new people, go through an elected officials update. We only have something real quick. Some of our business that we normally do, treasurer and secretary. We actually have quite a few speakers to talk to us today, so that's gonna be fantastic. We have a lot of community updates to get through and our committee reports and then some announcements. So if you're new, I see a lot of new faces. Y'all want to raise your hands if this is your first Eastwood Civic Association meeting? Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Thank you. Thank you for coming. And if this is a helpful, informative meeting for you and you love it, please come back. We want to make sure that you stay as informed as possible with all of the information that we have. So I think just to get started, we have Levi with Adrian Garcia's office, who's going to give a brief hello. You have to hold it, unfortunately.
Okay. Hey, guys, just wanted to flag a couple of flyers that I will be passing out on your way out the door out there. One is our Biz to Empower program. So if you're a small business owner or you know a small business owner, it's a free 8-week course. Another one is our Step Up 2025 program. This is for our internship program inside the precinct. And then we have some Know Your Rights information. We're going to be having March 15th. We're going to be having a Defend Your Rights meeting and kind of fair, if you will, at Baldrick. So thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Levi. And if you have any questions about Precinct 2 and Adrian Garcia's office that we can help you with, definitely contact Levi. He's got information that can help there. We also have Precinct 6 Constable's office, if you want to come say hello. And we are going to go ahead and just limit questions on this to a couple minutes because we have so many items that we need to get through, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Lieutenant Reed Clark. I work for Constable Sylvia Trevino. Our office is right there at 5900 Canal. I'm over the patrol division, which answers the calls for service, dispatch, and our investigations. So this is a position that I just got moved into starting in January, but I was previously the admin sergeant, and I've worked patrol investigations before. So I'm not new to the office or new to the area, but if coming up is spring break, so if you happen to be traveling with family going out of town, you can go to constablesylviatrevino.com under forms and quick links. There's a vacation watch form that you can fill out, put your information, and then that's a free service. So in between calls for service, our deputies will come by and check your home. Make sure you're detailed in there what cars should be there, because sometimes people leave their vehicles or they have a family member staying. Put those details in there because the deputy will come by and check when you're home. So.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go into our treasurer's report. So Polani, you want to come on up? Surprised you.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Our current balance right now is $27,366.52, and that's accumulative from all of our accounts. $27,366.52.
Cool. Thank you. All right, and now we're going to go into our secretary's report.
All right, good evening, everyone. Well, so first I'll start with the meeting minutes from last February. So we had updates from Houston Library, from elected officials, Councilmember Joaquin Garcia, Harris County Precinct 2, We do have our secretaries and treasurers report. We kind of have a Eastwood Civic Association 2024 wrapped by our president Lindsay. We did talk about the city of Houston notice to abandon Polk Street. We did talk about the I-45 expansion project, about the delayed or missed trash pickups that have been happening since the holidays. We also talked about encouraging people to report any incidents or any issues in their area through 311. And we also talked about the forthcoming events, meetings, priorities, and committees for this year by our association. Just a few things. We did notice that there is a variance request on 4109 McKinney Street. This is the information. This will happen on March 6th, 2025. These are the different options. So you can join, get some information, contact the people in charge, and also have your say on this. Okay, so if you guys like to take a picture, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys have passed by through McKinney and have seen the sign and have seen the construction going on in that area. So feel free to contact to receive some information and maybe attend. Yes. This is like in front of La Rinera. So Colin and McKinney. Yes, close to that. It's McKinney, not Hurst. I'm in 49. Yes. Yes. Yeah, so this is all the information. You would like to take a picture? Anyone's interested? Okay. All right. The second part, this is actually pretty close to my house. We were, me and some of the neighbors have reported this. This has been a report of an encampment on the 500 block of Eastwood Street. We have reported 311, Homeless Outreach Division, and District H Patrol, since most of our neighborhood is District I, but this happens to be on the District H side. They have reached out. They have assigned an officer, so we're just waiting for them to take care of that action. We have following up, and I will keep you guys updated, but basically there is someone living there. Yeah. And then the next thing, if you're interested in being part of our committees this year, feel free to join us. You can scan the QR code, or there is the link, bit.ly/ECACMTE. If anyone is interested in taking part of our committees this year, we have seen some responses, which we're very glad, and you should be contacted to join us and take part of our projects this year. And then the last thing, if you would like to become a captain, so if you notice this map, this is the AC, all the neighborhoods, so all the blocks that are assigned for our neighborhood or for the ECA. If you notice, I don't know if you guys can see, I can kind of have a hard time seeing it from the side, but if they look gray, it's because we don't have a captain in those blocks. As you notice, most of the ones on the east side of our neighborhood, right, kind of close to the East Belt, that's where we're missing a lot of captains. So if you happen to live in that area, if you know someone that lives in that area that would like to be a block captain, right now the responsibilities of a block captain are to have those green signs that you have seen around the neighborhood, letting neighbors know about our upcoming meetings, and we would really appreciate your help on that. We have seen an increase in attendance for our meetings thanks to that, so we really want to keep it going. We really want to keep bringing neighbors into these meetings and keeping people informed of what's happening in our neighborhood. So if you're interested in becoming a block captain, please feel free to reach out to me after the meeting, or if you or Kyle Rogers over here raising his hand. Thank you. If you're interested, or if you know someone that can live in that area that you see in gray. Okay. Any questions? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So we're going to move into our keynote speakers, and I don't see my first one here. So I'm going to go ahead and move. I was going to go and have Cage go first, if that's okay. We're going to move these around a little. So if you don't mind, we're going to give you a couple minutes to speak, and hopefully that'll give Ed some time to get here.
Sure. Hello, I am Dee Dee Reardon. I'm the principal at Cage Elementary. Thank y'all so much for letting us come to speak today. We really appreciate it. And
I am the assistant principal, Crystal Garcia at Page Elementary.
so we just wanted to take a few minutes to let y'all know that our pre-K enrollment is open right now. So we have pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 at Cage, and we have a dual language program. So the pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 classes, both of them dual language, they are open to any kids who live in the city. So school choice is open right now. We have open enrollment until March 17th. It closes phase 1. And we still do have space in our 3-year-old class. And we would love anyone in the neighborhood to promote the school. It really is a special and great place. I would love to answer any questions that y'all might have. I left the flyers for our pre-K programs in the front. We have early morning care and after-school care also at Cage. But any questions y'all have about our school, which is right across the street here? This way, this way. Yes. So, someone in the office was telling me that this morning, there was an alarm going off, but I didn't get a notification. It was at Cage though?
Yeah, well, we don't know. Yesterday afternoon, we don't know exactly.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. We'll have to figure out why I didn't get a notification on that, because usually it pings on my phone and I didn't get anything, but I apologize for that. Definitely looking into it. I would just recommend calling the either HISD police. There's always someone on patrol in the area. If they don't answer, then HPD, I'm sure they pass the call to the HISD police if you call them too. Thank you. Yes.
Can you tell me what is the difference between Cage and Project Chrysalis? Because I don't understand that.
Sure. So Cage Elementary is a neighborhood school. So first, right now, all of HISD schools are open school choice, but Cage Elementary, traditionally, it is a neighborhood school where we have the neighborhood boundary. Project Chrysalis has always been a school choice. So they've always taken kids from all over the city, whereas Cage traditionally has just been the neighborhood. And now it is open, however, to kids from all over the city. Yes. Thank you. So Cage is pre-K 3 years old through 5th grade, and Chrysalis is 6th through 8th grade. And both of them are A-rated campuses. They are really great schools in your neighborhood. Crystal Garcia, do you want to share something brief?
Yes.
Great. A personal touch from AP Assistant Principal Crystal Garcia here. She'll just take a moment. Thank you.
I actually grew up in the neighborhood, so I used to be a resident here. My family, we all grew up here. My uncles graduated from Austin High School. And I was a student at Cage. So now to become an assistant principal has been an honor, and it's something that just comes through like a closing circle moment in my life. And I know most of the area, all of the kids here are now my age, and we're just, adulting now, but we would love to keep the school open for the neighborhood kids.
All right. Yes.
My daughter did go to Project Cage Elementary and Project
Uh-huh.
She's 22 years old today, and she was about her favorite school.
Wow, thank you. And Crystal Garcia, she's just one of our staff members who went to school at Cage and Chrysalis, or who has kids at Cage and Chrysalis. I mean, it really is just foundational for the community that is there right now. We would love you all to stop by and check us out. Any questions that you have, any concerns that you have with the school, please feel free to stop by anytime. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And always keep us updated on how we can support you, because we love our neighborhood schools.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we have our guests, our Friends of Columbia TAP. We have Ed Pettit, who is going to be on Zoom today. So Ed, do you want to unmute yourself and say hello?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Ed Pettit, the president of Friends of Columbia TAP. I'm also vice president of the 3rd Ward Super Neighborhood. Can you hear me okay?
Can y'all hear? Just make sure y'all. Okay, I'm gonna have to hold the microphone to you. That's okay, though. All right.
Okay.
All right. How about now? Gun start.
Testing. My presentation today is going to be an overview of what Friends of Columbia Tap is and what our upcoming projects are and how we intersect with some of the work that's happening in Eastwood. So we are a grassroots citizen advocacy group focusing around the Columbia Tap Trail. We have members who have been working on designing this linear park and hike and bike pathway since the Third Ward Model Cities Plan of 1973. And we have some members who just joined this week. So, and a lot in between. I personally became involved around 2011 when I moved to Third Ward and was doing my public health degree and just realized that the trail was built more as a pass through and not really serving the residents who lived along the trail. So Friends of Columbia Tap formed in 2022 when we had our first annual Third Ward on Tap Festival. I'll tell you about the fourth annual one that's coming up in a couple weeks. And we really exist to integrate the trail more with the community around it. Next slide.
I'm too far, sorry.
No, you're good. So this is our board. We just became our own 501c3 this past year. We have a variety of diverse members from civil engineers to community engagement experts to artists and historians, accountants. I'm an urban planner. I also work with the Bullard Center at Texas Southern University. And Robert Groby, he lives on McKinney, right on the trail. So he lives right on the border of Edo and Eastwood, and he's our secretary. So he's also trying to get a civic club operating in Edo, which hasn't had one for a long time. So if you know anyone who's on the Edo side of the Columbia Tap and would like to join Robert Groby in that effort, please connect him. Next slide. So these are just some photos showing the trail historically and more recently. It started out as a railroad pre-Civil War built by enslaved people from the plantations in Brazoria County, starting at the town of Columbia. And this railroad eventually connected with a smaller railroad that tapped into the Richmond to Harrisburg Buffalo Bayou Railway in from Houston, so that it connected with the Houston Tap. So the full name was the Houston Tap and Brazoria Railway, but since it started from Columbia, people just shortened it to Columbia Tap. And it was also known as a sugar road because of all the sugar that was transported on that railway, both before and after the Civil War. After the Civil War, it was actually used to traffic leased convict labor from prisons around Harris, Montgomery counties down to those plantations in Brazoria County until the 1910s. So there's a long history of this railroad being used for extraction. We're now trying to make it a trail of reconciliation and making it an amenity to these communities along the trail. Next slide. So we have worked with the University of Houston Community Design Resource Center as well as the Bullard Center on two action plans. The first one is kind of an overall action plan that came out of some visioning workshops and some charrettes we did with residents who lived along the trail on what are their major priorities for the trail. The number one priority actually came out to be lighting, which is very much connected to safety. They want to make sure that the trail is safe to use and well lit and incorporates crime prevention through environmental design. And the safer it is, the more people will use it, and the more people use it, the more safer it becomes. So it's kind of a virtuous cycle. And we're very proud that just recently it was announced that the trail will be getting $7.5 million of improvements through funding from the Houston Galveston Area Council, specifically for lighting, intersection safety, as well as extending the trail. And I'll show you a map a little bit more of how it will be extended. The second plan here is on housing and economic opportunity, because we realize once you start improving the amenities of the trail, you can also put pressure on housing and property prices, and that can lead to displacement. And so we're working with the residents who live along the trail, especially seniors who are on fixed incomes, connecting them with resources like Rebuilding Houston Together to help them get free home remediations and renovations, as well as working with organizations that are building affordable housing along the trail, such as the Midtown Redevelopment Authority with the 200 plus lots they own close to the trail with New Hope Housing and their two new multi-unit facilities that are within a couple blocks of the trail. The Sunrise Lofts in Edo, the Hay Center that's almost complete right now next to the Gulf Freeway, lots of other affordable housing, and making sure that it's serving those communities along the trail. And also the economic side, small businesses, businesses like Edo Bike Co. and Edo Pastries and Provisions. We want more businesses like that. We're working closely with developers like Scarlet Capital that has a great adaptive reuse warehouse diagonal from Edo Bike Co. Right there on St. Charles and the Columbia Tap, and making sure that they get retail and spaces that work well as trail-oriented businesses. Next slide. We are also working with the CUNY Homes and the Houston Housing Authority on their transformation plan. They just got a $50 million grant to renovate the CUNY Homes housing complex, which is right on the Columbia Tap Trail. And actually, as part of their planning grant, they did an early action project to create a pocket park at Truxillo. Some folks may say Trujillo, the residents at CUNY Homes call it Truxillo. But that dead-end street was transformed into a beautiful park with an ADA accessible pathway to the trail. So those are the kinds of connections that we want to form with the communities, both physical connections as well as connections amongst people. And that latter part amongst people leads us to our Walk 30 and Coffee Chat. So every Friday morning at 8:45, bright and early, we meet at the Law Harrington Senior Center, and we start a walk with seniors from the Law Harrington. Then we hit the trail, pick up more residents from CUNY Homes. We walk along the trail, turn on Holman, go past Project Row Houses, and end up at the El Dorado, where we have a coffee chat at 10 a.m. And we do this rain or shine. Even if we get rained out of the walk, we'll still have the coffee chat. So anyone's welcome. It's a very casual chat to figure out what's happening in the community, how can we advocate for sustainability, connectivity, equity, and how we can help each other as neighbors. Next slide. This is that 7.5 million I mentioned. It's going to be administered through the Greater Houston Southeast Management District in partnership with the East Downtown Management District. And if you look at the south end of the trail, you'll see a blue line. That's the continuation along Dixie that will be included in this infrastructure grant. That will connect the Columbia Tap in an off-street shared use path along Dixie to Alameda Street and Herman Park, where they have the rodeo trail, which Precinct 1 Rodney Ellis, Commissioner Ellis, just completed a couple of years ago to connect all the way to Holly Hall and NRG Stadium, where, of course, the rodeo is happening right now. So that's a great connection. You can get all the way from downtown to NRG without getting on a street. On your bicycle, your scooter, your electric scooter, or your horse, or pushing a stroller, however you want to travel on the Columbia Tap. Next slide. Another exciting project that actually brings in Eastwood and some of its history and art and culture is a mural that we'll be doing on the attenuation wall of Sunrise Loft. So this attenuation wall was built because it's right next to the light rail as well as a larger commercial rail yard to prevent the sound from affecting the residents. But right now it's blank. We want to create a beautiful mosaic mural with renowned artist Reginald Adams. He's known for doing the Juneteenth mural in Galveston, as well as the mosaic mural entrance to Fifth Ward, as well as the four mosaic murals at the four corners of Emancipation Park. He's done a lot of great work in Houston. So I'm just going to quickly go through the history of each panel, and then we'll stop and pause a bit at the Eastwood panel. Next slide. So it's going to be a 38 panel mural that tells the history of East Downtown and Third Ward's evolution. The trail is completely in the footprint of the original Third Ward, as well as what we now know as Third Ward. That commercial industrial rail just north of the Columbia Tap is the extension of the original boundary of the four wards. The original four wards met at Main Street and Commerce. Commerce hits that industrial rail, and that forms the border between Third Ward to south of the rail and Second Ward north. So the Columbia Tap is completely within the original Third Ward footprint. That neighborhood that got bifurcated by the Gulf Freeway, that northern part is now known as Edo. Next slide. We'll begin by talking about the indigenous history of the trail, the Karankawa and Akokisa tribes, and uh, their re- uh, their status as Gulf Coast indigenous groups. Next slide. We'll talk about the rise of the railroads and shaping East Downtown's industrial foundation, and talking about that history of it being built by enslaved and convict laborers. Next slide. We'll talk about celebrating the early African American history of Third Ward, especially that original Third Ward that's now Edo. You know, there's only a few remnants of that historic African American community that was there. One of which is St. Nicholas Catholic Church, the oldest Black Catholic church in Houston, as well as a purple building that you may have passed by that used to be a school, the Charles W. Lucky School, the first school named after an African American in Texas. And this was a elementary school for African American children that was actually part of the Harrisburg ISD when that part of the city was actually part of the Harrisburg School District. Next slide. We'll talk about the Asian immigrant contributions, the Cantonese and Vietnamese immigrants that came and actually created that original Chinatown or Asia Town of East Downtown. Next slide. We'll talk about then Eastwood and its architectural history, the Hispanic culture of Eastwood, as well as the community hubs like Tlaquepaque Plaza. And the next slide will show you more of a longer slide. I'm not going to read through this word for word because some of you might have already heard me read it at the super neighborhood meeting, but Lindsay can give you these slides. We would like your input if we have missed something. This is basically the inspiration paragraph that we're going to give to the artists for this panel. Reginald's going to work with a team of artists, and they're each going to give their little artistic vision to each panel. So this is just meant as inspiration. Not everything that's described here will end up in the panel, but we would welcome your contributions to how to make this better for the artists that's selected for this panel. Next slide.
Oh, my bad. There you go. Oh, there you go.
No, you're good. Then we talk about what we now know as Edo, its industrial resurgence and artistic rebirth, this creative class that has come in and kind of revitalizing East Downtown. Next slide.
There you go.
And then finally ending with a vision for the future, showcasing how we want this trail to really take this from a railroad of extraction to a trail of reconciliation and weave together these neighborhoods that have been divided by redlining, by railroads, by highway construction, and really create a well-knit, cohesive, equitable community. Next slide. So if you'd like to join us, contact me. I can get you in touch with Reginald. If you have artists to recommend, we welcome that as well. Next slide. So what else do? We do lots of service projects. These are young high schoolers that are part of Rotary's Interact clubs. They came and helped us plant over 500 trees on the Columbia Tap Trail a couple weekends ago. Next slide. This is a Boy Scouts troop from Sugar Land that joined us for the tree planting. Next slide. And we also had a lot of University of Houston students. Next slide. Our next two big events this month, we have our 4th annual Black History Bike Tour with Dr. Vion McReynolds of Tour de Hood, a Third Ward bike nonprofit. It's going to be meeting at the Edo Bike Co. At 10 a.m. and then we'll ride out at 11. This is a great way to learn the history of the trail, which I was only able to scratch the surface of in this presentation, but this will give you 3 hours of in-depth history. Then on March 22nd, we have our 4th annual Third Ward on Tap Festival. And this is a family-friendly festival. There's games and activities and lawn games for kids. There's going to be a youth showcase of musical performances. We're going to have free food, entertainment, bike rides, and lots of exhibitors with resources for the community. All of this information you can scan the QR code, or you can go to www.friendsofcolumbiatap.org or just Google Friends of Columbia Tap. All the links, all the information is on our website. Next slide. This is my last little thing. So this is where we kind of overlap with the advocacy around closing Polk. So as you can see from this design, which I'm not sure if it's going to look like what's presented on Thursday, but when Polk is dead-ended, it also removes our existing bike connection between the Columbia Tap and downtown, those protected bike lanes on Polk. So this is a big concern for us. They also show the Columbia Tap kind of being extended over this cat park and through the middle of the convention center, which is going to be opened up into like an outdoor atrium. But none of this is funded. This cat park isn't funded. We have no idea when and if they're actually going to build this atrium connection to Discovery Green. So we're very concerned about the timing of these projects and the alternatives, not only for vehicular traffic, but also for pedestrians and cyclists while all this work is happening. So just to tell you that we are on your side and wanting to get more information and more community engagement about this project. Next slide. That's it. That's our QR code. And if there's any burning questions, I'm happy to take them, but I'm also very available through email if you want to reach me. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Does anybody have any specific questions for Friends of Columbia Tap? All right, Paul, what's up? I'm sorry, say that again? So Ed, has the grant for the 7.5 million already been awarded?
Yes, it has been awarded. It's in the hands of the HGAC office here in Houston. So it's not held up in any federal account somewhere. They're still working out on getting the funding from the HGAC bank account to the Greater Houston Southeast bank account. They've already finished their call for bids for the contractors, and they're now in the process of finalizing the review and selecting the lead contractor. So as soon as they announce that contractor and the money has been transferred, they should be hitting the ground in the next month or so. The idea is to get at least the lighting done in time for the World Cup, if not some of the more high priority connections and intersection improvements.
All right, did you have a follow-up question? You look like you do. You said you're breaking ground next month?
I'm saying that the contractor should be announced within the next few weeks. And by breaking ground, I mean on them starting the process of doing their planning with the community. So not physically breaking ground. There's going to be more community engagement around this once they've selected the contractor. We've given Southeast Management District and East Town Management District are 2 reports, which you can download from our website, the overall action plan and the housing economic action plan. They use those reports to create the request for qualifications for the developer. So the developer knows coming into this that there's already been community engagement and that their job is to implement these recommendations from the community, but they're still going to come back to the community to get more refined feedback on more, kind of specific blueprints. And when that happens, I'll make sure that Lindsay passes those invitations on to all of you.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much, Ed, for your time. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it here. Thank you. The people are clapping. You probably can't hear it. All
I
right.
appreciate it. Bye-bye.
All right, so now we're going to move over to the East End District. We've got a couple representatives that are going to be talking about the McKinney Street Sidewalk Project. I don't know, Ricky, if you want to go first and just introduce people, how you want to do this.
Hey everyone, my name is Rick Cardenas. I work for the Eastern District. I've been there about 9 months. I'm Director of External Affairs, which basically means community relations, PR, and marketing for the Eastern District. I'm happy to meet with anyone and hear anyone's concerns about projects or anything that's happening and taking place in the Eastern District. We are a maintenance and a management district, so we don't implement the projects that come into the neighborhood, but we are brought on early in the planning stages of these projects to help figure out what the maintenance plan is, because once the projects are there, then it's, the district's job to take care of it. And again, so I'm happy to hear anyone's concerns about it. And actually, the reason that we're having this presentation today is because a resident voiced concern over the McKinney sidewalk project. So I'll, just did my best to kind of work to get a couple of guys here to help explain some of the project and answer any questions regarding that. So we have Jason and Joel here. They are experts on this project and they're going to go through a presentation here. And just let them know if you have any questions, raise your hand, feel free to stop us right now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Bowden. I'll be the project manager. I work with Eastwood District also. I'll be the project manager on this project. And yes, we wanted to bring to light a project that we did have going on in the district. It's going to be on King Street, starting at Cullen, working its way east to Dumble. We're at 60% in terms of design right now, so we're not 100%, but I definitely wanted to bring the engineering team, the Goodman Group.
Will you move closer to the computer so the people on Zoom can hear you?
Okay.
Thank you.
So I did want to introduce or bring the Goodman Corporation, the engineering team here to explain the project and, talk through maybe a couple of design concepts and things like that. So I'll pass it over to Abdul with the Goodman Corporation.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, or thank you for having us today. My name is Abdul Mahani. I'm providing engineering design support for this project. I'm joined here with Kirk Myers, who is our construction lead. And we, the Goodman Corporation, are providing engineering support services for this project. So just to give you kind of an overview of where the project is, it's on McKinney Street from Cullen to Dumble, and also a little bit of Eastwood Street. So we have Eastwood from McKinney to Walker. Currently, McKinney Street from Cullen to Eastwood has a existing 4-foot sidewalk. So we'll be upgrading that sidewalk with a 5-foot wide sidewalk. McKinney Street from Eastwood Street to Dumble Street has an existing 5-foot sidewalk. So wherever their sidewalk is in poor condition and is not ADA compliant and is not accessible, we'll be replacing those sidewalks as well. And on Eastwood Street, we have a 4-foot wide sidewalk, which we will also be upgrading with a 5-foot wide sidewalk. So like Jason said, the project is currently in 60% design phase. So a couple of the focal points of the project are dealing with the existing and mature trees. We're trying to find a way to work around them. We're working with an arborist to make sure that we are able to provide an accessible route without disturbing any of the existing trees. Another focal point of the project is obtaining city approval on drainage and streetlights. Also, important part of the project is working around the intersections, being able to provide a directional curb ramp down to the street that is also ADA accessible. So the funding for this project comes from a grant from the Federal Transit Administration. The purpose of the project and the goal of the project is to provide an accessible route along McKinney Street to the transit stops on Lockwood Drive. So that's kind of the whole goal of the project. So it's a high priority to make sure we have an accessible sidewalk along McKinney Street. Go back one more slide. So some of the sidewalk elements where we can, sidewalks that are in good condition and are salvageable, are ADA compliant.
Question. The 5 foot, are you going into the city's right of way? You're not gonna be taking property from the homeowners.
That's correct. We're not taking any property.
Well, you realize how many trees are sitting in that right of way. I have a great big one and I have new sidewalks. And I don't know. I know that really wouldn't work, but what they were able, because I refused to let them do anything until they didn't start carving into because it's a live oak. And so you've got their roots on the surface,
Mhm.
then you can really harm them. I mean, are you gonna be able to do variances where it's necessary that you don't mess up a tree?
Yeah, there are a few locations where we're requesting a variance from the city where we're going to be doing a 4-foot sidewalk because it's physically very hard to put a sidewalk in without having impacting any roots. So it's a main point of focus for us. We're working with the arborist, making sure that we're not impacting any of the roots and
You promise?
Was there another question or can I continue? I'm just gonna get through this slide and then next slide I'll be able to answer any questions. Oh, no worries. Wherever the sidewalks are in good condition, we're gonna be keeping those, where they're, new sidewalks or they're ADA accessible, we're gonna be, keeping those, especially in consideration of the project budget. Where the sidewalks are in poor condition and, there's cracks and all kinds of stuff, we're gonna be working with those, replacing those where they're in bad condition. We'll also be rebuilding driveways where necessary. Some of the driveways are out of compliance and will need to be rebuilt in order to provide an accessible route to Lockwood Drive. We will also be installing streetlights where there are gaps in the streetlights. So the city of Houston has a minimum streetlight distances that you have to have between streetlights. So we'll be filling in gaps. I believe there's 3 proposed streetlights on this project. We'll also be upgrading the existing curb ramps. Some of the curb ramps are in pretty bad condition, so we'll be providing a new curb ramp, upgraded curb ramp that has truncated domes, which are like those little bumps that you see. Let you know that you're going into the intersection, and also a sidewalk or a ramp that is compliant in terms of the grades as well. And also, so one thing that we notice is that at intersections, there's a lot of ponding and silt debris buildup. So we'll be cleaning up those edges, doing some work around the curb and gutter to make sure that the water flows around those intersections as well. And so that's all I had. I'd like to open up for questions and any concern. So this hand first.
The project's supposed to run.
It's about 6 to 9 months. Yes, ma'am. We're still in the design phase, so once we get the design, we have to put it out for bid. This one?
One. Yep. Oh, yeah.
I'm
There
sorry.
you go.
Yeah, so this construction will start maybe possibly late 2025.
Yeah, that's great. That's a question right here.
Don't tell me that how do you, if a blind person were to walk on this ADA sidewalk, how would they know the difference?
So you'll be able to know, there's a few distinct things. So one thing is the cross slope of the sidewalk, especially not only blind, but also wheelchair users. There are requirements for the cross slope of the sidewalk. So, you don't want to have your sidewalk going like this. It's not very accessible. For blind persons specifically, there are things that they put at the intersections called the truncated domes, and there's also ridges for the ramp. So you'll be able to feel it out whenever you're entering the intersection.
Well, what about the runway? Going from point A to point B, the slope is okay, the signal is okay, but what about just the runway? They're not fully blind, they're just, let's say they're partially.
Yes. Other than that, it would look just like a regular sidewalk. The specific treatments are at the intersections.
Fair enough, thank you.
Question over here?
Yeah, sort of a specific question that I'm asking for a here. On Eastwood, there's a home that has a driveway that has really pretty pavers. Would y'all be planning to remove those to put in a sidewalk? Or are you able to leave them in that specific circumstance?
So our priority is to provide an accessible sidewalk. So wherever we're noticing that the sidewalk is not accessible, especially with in terms of like mobility and school children walking, we will be replacing those. For that specific driveway, we can work with you guys to see what works for both our purpose and your purpose as well.
Just to kind of add a little context to this, they are made of like historic pavers, so it's not just random bricks that are thrown out there.
Mhm.
So we just want to make sure that we can keep that as much as possible.
Okay,
We have historic papers.
One of our residents does, somebody's driveway does.
Would how to best facilitate, I guess, that conversation? Should they reach out to you guys directly? Would y'all contact them before something were to happen?
yeah. You guys could reach out to us. You could reach out to the district as well. Ricky.
Actually.
I'm sure we can coordinate something, get it worked out.
Yes, question.
So, my question is, I live in Broadmoor, and on Broadmoor, they're doing, like, right now, they're doing sidewalks, and I don't know if it came from your project or whatnot, and I don't know if it was because it was ADA requested, that's why theirs got taken care of. So we have the same problem, and we want to get ours taken care of, but do I need to find somebody who's an ADA person in order to get a request in?
In order to replace the sidewalk, you're
Yes.
saying? So our project came through from the district. The district got funding in order to get this project underway. So I think, I'm not sure the exact answer, but maybe reach out to your district or your city council member and see if they can add this project. Do you have anything to add there?
Yes. So I was just gonna say that the purpose of the project is to connect these sidewalks to any transit stops. So that's typically where we get our funding from. So that's really, when you see projects going on throughout the district, especially when it's coming from specifically us, it's federal funding that's coming from through channeling down through the district into to the district specifically for transit stops, like, right? So sidewalks to bus stations and or the railway.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, make sure you're in touch with, Councilman Martinez on this. If, I'll give you a card, big CTV, I believe there are sidewalk improvements coming to the area, specifically, I think on 4K Street.
Yes.
No, that's where it is.
Yeah, so on 4K, there are sidewalk improvements coming.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, is it gonna be on both sides of McKinney or just one side? Due to budgeting, it's only gonna be on the north side of McKinney. So what happened on the other side of it? There's a reason on the other side. Well, and yeah, in terms of the funding, we just didn't have the funding to do it on both sides. We wish we could have, but because of the funding, we just don't have the funds to do both sides. That was the intent, but you know.
I
just because of
I was just saying, organize, get behind this, talk to the councilman, find out what necessary budget may be, and get those funds allocated, you know, for the other side of the sidewalk. The power is here, you know, the power is not kind of the people that are doing that.
Rebecca, and then
I saw a hand in the back.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw there was a couple gaps at the intersections where y'all are doing the design, intersections, particularly common, traffic calming, tactics like, roundabouts or, you know, curb outs or anything like that.
No, not specifically on this project, no.
All right, so I got Aaron, Lisa, Paul, Rebecca. Just my cue.
Okay. Yeah,
Have the federal funding already, is that?
yes, the federal, no, it's not, it came down in 22, right? So we have those funds, and we're, you know, spending those dollars now.
All right, Lisa?
I just have a question, and I understand that they're federal funds, but when we're talking about the district, are we talking about the council managed district, or are we talking about management district?
The management district,
Okay,
man.
I've got a question about that then. What kind of input can we as citizens have into the management district's priorities? Because that's all commercially, those are commercial taxes that pay that. And I'm concerned about, transparency and input. Can you speak to that, please?
Yeah, so, I would just say that, the Eastern District, the management district, is funded through an assessment on the taxes of property owners. And this is only commercial and retail, this is not residential. So, you know, granted, we are funded by, you know, the businesses. These businesses would not exist without our community. So we are in turn, serving you as well. These improvements that we're making will benefit you as well, even though there's been no tax contribution on your behalf. What I will say and what I would suggest for everyone in the room, if you have the time, the Eastern District does have board meetings that are open to the public. I believe it's the fourth Thursday of the month.
Yes, for Thursday.
At 3:30. And this is gonna be at the Eastern District offices. Forget the specific address. Yes, ma'am. And I'll give you a card afterwards, just so we can go.
3211 Harrisburg.
Yep, 3211.
3211 Harrisburg, sorry, I forget my own office address. But you can't miss the building. It's right across from the O'Reilly Auto Parts or the Equal Parts Brewery. It's right across the rail from there. And we're welcome. You can sign up at the beginning and give comments. Please sign up, and I would like to see more of you there to give as many comments as possible.
This is just a process question, Nick. So these are federal dollars, federal tax dollars that are moving into the community through the East End Management District, correct?
I believe so.
Okay, so in terms of input and priority and the scope of the project, how and who are making those decisions?
So that's a very good question. I'm sorry, I don't really have a true answer for it, but what I do know, what I have noticed is that, when the community comes together, the group of people that make the most noise are the group of people who are gonna see the results. And, if the community wants the sidewalks on the south side as well as the north side, please come and get together, speak your mind at these meetings, and let's see how we can organize to make that happen.
I can chime in a little bit on
Thank
that.
you.
I got Paul and then Rebecca. I promise. I see you. And then Kyle.
Just to follow up on what he said, as Jason mentioned, this is FTA funding, Federal Transit Administration. So any project that formula funding provides money for has to be tied to the bus stops. And that's kind of the main scope of this project is, as Jason mentioned, connecting the bus stops to the community. So, but as was mentioned earlier, community involvement with the district and the council member can certainly raise the visibility of the need here for, and I agree with everybody here that there is a much larger need for accessibility and sidewalks in general. So as was mentioned, engage your elected officials to raise the visibility.
All right, so we got Paul and then Rebecca and then Kyle and Polani.
And I think you may have decided it's chosen north side? Yes. Yes, so we did a project on Walker and Eastwood, and that connects. All right, so right now we're doing pretty much the south side, which is what McKinney going up Eastwood also, right? So. Oh, yeah.
Please tell me. Who knows the difference?
We have to go through, the selection process, but
Please get some,
yes,
please
yes,
get some
yes.
feedback.
Yes, we've
Okay.
already got the feedback on the last contractor and
Church.
Yeah.
We got Rebecca, Kyle, Polani, and Paulo.
One of the things that I don't think you guys realize, when Mr. Wilson created this neighborhood and built the homes, that was called the Silk Stocking Street. Notice how the houses are much larger. Well, putting in sidewalks on one side, I know they did our sidewalks on one side, God knows why. And I have to be, and my neighbors are still mad about it. So there's gonna be some unhappy people who live
So-
on the south
So
side.
I hear you. And something that the super neighborhood is working on, and we're trying to raise that concern with the district, is we're trying to catalog the sidewalks, which ones absolutely need to be redone, how we can get funding for those. But the first step is to catalog them. And it's a painful process, but it's necessary. So we are working on, the super neighborhood is working on this throughout. I'm in this area, so this area is going to get my love first, right? So that's what we're going to try to do so that we can elevate additional concerns to the district and get funding to build these sidewalks. And we're also potentially working with Adrian Garcia's office about this too. I see him back there. So I've already elevated this in multiple areas so that we can try to get as many new sidewalks as possible in our area. So I hear you, and I hear you. I just want to let you know that that's a concern of mine too. All right, so we got Rebecca, we got Kyle.
So the Walker Street project, which is, I guess, complete now, when we have some concerns about, I'm all for new sidewalks, this is a good thing. But, the way it gets done is a little concerning sometimes because we had some trouble with the Walker Street. For example, they just tore a tree down out of nowhere. And we still haven't gotten they also destroyed a historic, street monument.
Yeah.
And we still haven't gotten that.
Yes.
So I would just ask that when your contractors or whomever is doing this, they use the utmost care for the properties here.
This is just a little context, is that whoever did the Walker Street the first time, they sawed off some of our old growth oak trees.
Correct.
They destroyed, we had major leaks afterwards. It was pretty upsetting. And of course, they started without telling anybody. And I think what would be meaningful to the community is after this design is finished,
Correct.
to come back and share, like, this is what we plan to do.
Yeah.
And here are things that we're going to do to mitigate some of the previous concerns that we're seeing.
And that's, I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I was just making sure.
So, and that's kind of why we decided to come out this evening on 60% design, to let the community know what we are planning on doing. And, just kind of give you a heads up, right?
Yeah.
Because we didn't do that last time, so we said, okay, what are the lessons learned from that last project, right? And we decided to come to the community ahead of time, before construction started, in the design phase.
Yep.
To let you guys, let everyone know what's going on.
All right, we
Yes.
got Polani and then Paolo. Oh, sorry.
Just real briefly, have you guys, does this happen, when I lived in the sixth ward, they got I forget who, but somebody paid for like brand new brick sidewalks. And they were very beautiful, they were good for about a year and a half, and then the gas company came through and tore them all up. Are y'all coordinating with utilities?
Yes, we try, but Centerpoint sometimes just comes in after we put our new sidewalks in, they come in and dig it up and they don't tell us anything, right? There's no communication here.
Notoriously.
Yes, so, and there's nothing that we can do,
Yes.
all right?
Centerpoint has redone all of our gas lines and connected them all.
Which I have been.
Yeah, so they don't let us know. Yeah, they don't let us, because I know Centerpoint did some work on Eastwood and Walker after we were done. And I walked on the project site, I'm like,
Yeah.
what happened? Nobody told us.
The last
crazy.
thing, so that's one level of utility, the other would be like water. That is public owned, it's, utility, so
But
maybe I'll
that's
talk to them.
That's done on
The water,
Water lines, the supply and the
it's
sewer.
right next to the sidewalks, I mean, you're gonna be. right
We-
up there.
we haven't.
I would
Got
suggest
it.
you
I've
reach
gotten
out
that
to them
far.
if they have any projects upcoming or anything.
Generally, these projects are coordinated through the city of Houston and Public Works. That being said, there's a lot of capital projects and also maintenance projects that may be required that aren't really forecasted well enough or communicated or vetted with all the districts in the city. I'm sure you know, it's not just East End District, it happens all over. Same thing with Centerpoint, as Jason was saying. I don't think they even know when they're gonna do the work.
Yeah.
They've just got so much on their plate from the hurricane, and they're trying to go through and build resiliency into the system, that they're just throwing money at the problem and trying to do as much for it as possible, so. It's really kind of luck of the draw with these projects, these sidewalk projects, whether they get tore up in a year or 10, 15, 20 years later, or never.
All right, Polani and then Paolo. Oh, you're good? All right, cool.
There any plan or thought to fix the outer slope of gutters or the fire gravity that they would not reach the gutters on the corners? No, that project is currently closed out, so, yes, sir, sorry, but.
So if there's an ongoing, like, issue, drainage
What
issue
are we
that
doing?
has been caused by the work, who should people contact?
I'm sorry, what was the issue?
I mean, wherever they put new gutters, now the water is will flow fine, now it follows up because
The gutter's higher than
the edge of each block upwards. So if the water never makes it.
Which location is that?
It's the Walker and Eastwood, the Rusk and Eastwood, Walker and Fashion, every corner that attached to the sidewalk. Every corner is messed up.
Yeah.
The run for wheelchair, it's already, you can't see it because of the mud that collects with the water, it's gone.
Yeah, it's. I believe, yeah, that'll be Public Works 3-1.
Humongous water line. Going down Clark, and then it heads straight to Buffalo Bayou and then Rockwood.
Yeah.
And they were just all up.
Okay, guys, I want to take a look at this.
Follow up the water. Is there an update on replacing the monument that was destroyed?
Yes, ma'am, we're gonna replace it. The one on the corner.
You wanna take that, Ricky? You look like you were gonna
I-
stand up.
No, I don't have a timeline, but it'll be replaced on the corner of Eastwood and Walker. Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right, got Alex back there.
So I know that was like a lot of that, public meeting last month, and y'all are in design already, will there be a public meeting to show that design? Is there a timeline for that?
So right now we're at 60%. I haven't talked with Ricky about this, and the team, but I think, yeah, we are gonna do another meeting here to let you know what the final design is. Guys, any more on that? That was good. Okay.
Cool. I think we got everyone. All right, great.
All right, thank you,
Awesome.
everyone.
Thank y'all so much. We're gonna go back to my Eastwood presentation here. Okay, so I have quite a few items to get through before we move into our committee, so I'm gonna go, as you know, as quick as possible. This is no secret. There was a notice to abandon Polk Street. We've been talking about this at length in the community. If you have an opinion on this, please call 832-395-3118 to voice your opinion by April 3rd. You can contact your council member, and trust me, I got all of that ready for you. You can sign up to speak at council, and I've got instructions on how to do that. But most importantly, we have a town hall, second town hall on March 17th at 6:30 p.m. with Houston First, our council members, and all of our people that are associated with the JRC process. So we really want to encourage you, put this on your calendars. Please come out and speak your opinion, whether you're in support of this or opposed to this. Just make sure that you're there to understand what's going on with the process. If you want to take a picture, I saw a lot of phones. Here are your council member phone numbers. Please take that number down and please call them. If you're on the H side, that's north of Harrisburg, north of the railroad line, please contact District H, or you can just contact District H. I'm sure they don't mind. District I, and then all the at-large if you can, and of course the mayor's office. We want to make sure that your opinion is definitely accounted for in this process. Just make sure everybody got their pictures. Okay. Yes. Yes, for the JRC process, it is 832-395-3118. And if you want to banter about city efficiency, the number on the sign is incorrect. So if you called that number, we don't know if you've been accounted for. So please make sure you call this number here so that we can make sure that our voices are accounted for. You got that? All right, cool. So how to speak at council. So council has a public session every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. You do need to sign up with the city secretary by 3 p.m. Monday, the day before. So the sign up call number is 832-393-1100. You need to be there by 11:30 to get through security. You need to bring your photo ID with you. And pro tip, it's really easy to take the rail in. You grab the green line or the purple line, it'll take you right up 2 blocks away from City Hall. It's very easy to go. And I can tell you it seems really scary to talk at council. I do it more often than I should, but your council members are people too, and they need to hear from you if you have an opinion on this. So please do this if you can. Even if you're a little nervous, there's no punishment for being nervous in front of council. You can read from a piece of paper, all of that. And heck, if you want me to prepare a speech for you, I will gladly do that. So, you can just let me know if you need help with that. So I always talk about 311, and this is important for residents who are new here. We always hear that District I is the lowest reported district in the city of Houston for 311 reports, which does have a negative impact on the resource allocation that we can get. So if we get out there, you're walking your dogs, you're visiting your neighbors, you're having a drink on the porch, make sure that you do these 311 reports and you report things that you find. So if your trash has not been picked up, which my trash and recycling was picked up today, which was like a miracle, but it was done. But these types of things, even if they're closed, even if they're rerouted, that documentation still happens. So what happens is Councilmember Martinez probably knows that there's a raised grate, that something is going on. But the problem is he can't advocate for these things without the data to back it up. And the 311 reporting system allows that data to back it up. I will gladly show you how to use the app. I will show you how to call if you need. And also I have escalated issues that have just been really persistent. An example is we've had some issues in other parts of town where the drainage is just not working properly. And I've gone through it and advocated to the Department of Neighborhoods and gotten those fixed. And also there's just a lot of ways that you can escalate things to the Department of Neighborhoods and your council member. So please don't hesitate to use your council member. That's what their team is for. They are here to serve you. And that's what we want to try to account for. Paul.
Flex app is really useful for people who have think about cycling.
Yep. So the I'm sorry, say that again. I have it and I can't even say it. HTX collects. It will give you reminders when your trash is supposed to be picked up. It's true. It said my recycling was delayed. So, but I think in just kind of associating with this, and you'll hear this as a theme throughout, is that, you know, we, as a neighborhood, as residents, we should not be accepting things like illegal dumping and just constant heavy trash thrown on our sidewalks. Like we're better than that. And that's what we need in our community. So, talk about train blockages, just reminder to report train to the FRA portal. I'm not going to go into detail about that, but I'm happy to talk about trades anytime you want, all of the time. So just I see some cameras making sure I got this, but yes, happy to talk about trains and everything from there. Just documenting a few resources here. This is our HPD non-emergency dispatch line. It's just a good number to have on hand in case something comes up and it's not a life or death situation. You can get in contact with our HPD South Central office. And HPD also hosts a positive interactive program. And I realized I said February 18th. It's March 18th. That was just me. So yes, March, February. Uh-oh. Hang on. Okay. We had a visitor there. All right. We also have the precinct 6 constables who we heard from earlier. If for some, if you have something that you need an immediate response on, they can come out. There's 713-274-3400. So just a few community updates at a really high level. There is a vote this week to get funding, which is said to complete the quiet zones along the Galveston sub and the East Belt. I'm trying to gather details on what exactly that means, because that would be great for the community and provide substantial relief on that. So that is going to vote on Wednesday, and I was told that I was going to get more details and potentially a timeline once that is done. So hopefully that passes. We've also got the Lawndale Dog Park that was approved for funding to get the Lawndale Dog Park, which is over there on Lawndale by the Forest Park Cemetery, right along Brace Bayou. So right there at McGregor. And it's on, oh my God. It's on the south side of the bayou, but it's on the east side of Lawndale. Yeah, it's in Idlewood, but it's still a dog. Yeah, it's in Idlewood. You know where Idlewood is,
That the reason why I asked is because there used to be a monument company. I'm old, so I know all of this old stuff. And they you know, they didn't abandon the property, but I can't see. Park is gonna put dead people in every piece of land they've got.
They gave it up, so we'll take
No, But
it.
no, that's what you're talking about. It didn't belong to them.
Yeah.
That was it was an old monument company.
All right, well, that's where that is. Also, how many of you are familiar with Mason Park? All right, cool. So Mason Park now has a conservancy. You can find it at masonpark.com, masonpark.org, sorry, making sure I got that right. That's going to be announced soon. And they're also going to be doing, they're going to be announcing a meeting where you can come out and have a voice in how the master plan looks, if there's anything you want to add or change. So that should be coming out soon. And also we're going to be hosting a joint East End super neighborhood meeting where we talk about, we've got a plan right now to talk about the homeless situation in the mayor's plan to talk about the homelessness. And we've also got, we're waiting on confirmation on talking about Project 11 and how that's going to impact the community. Whew. Oddly, no. We actually have committee, I swear, I promise. It's almost over. We're going to get through our special events.
Hey neighbors, I'll go really quick. So 3 events coming up in the next couple of months. We've got the Coffee and Conversation series that we started last year is continuing. That's going to be March 29th, potentially at Broadmoor Park as long as the weather allows. 4/19, this is going to be the Park and Play Date series. We're hosting an Easter egg hunt at Eastwood Park. So kids 12 and under can hunt for eggs. We're going to have some refreshments. So bring your kids, bring your grandkids. Sounds like fun. April 24th, we've secured that day for Spring Fiesta. It's going to be at the Park Drive Esplanade. Similar to last year, there'll be a plant swap, there'll be food, there'll be beverages and ice cream.
Yeah.
So come mark your calendars and come enjoy these things with us.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. We expect to see you there, Rebecca. I'm watching you. I'll get. So I got so our communications with Kyle. Gonna give a couple updates.
Hello, yes. So Everett and I are the block captain coordinators. Everett, wait, raise your hand. So we're trying, right now, what we are doing is just texting everyone. We have like a massive group text. We're gonna attempt to use this Remind app. That way, the block captains can respond to the text and I don't text every single person in the thread. That's a little granular, but another thing we did is we bought this beautiful new PA system. That way we don't have to rely on these sketchy microphones at the Cape Center. So hopefully that this works out. Let's see, we are working toward making a new newsletter, the Eastwood Voice, a new edition. If you have any stories you'd like to submit, I'm definitely taking some. The ECA website, I am aware that it is not the greatest. We use WordPress, and if anybody has WordPress knowledge, I'm looking for help. So anybody out there? Next thing we sort of touched on, we're also the membership committee now. We've got that tacked on to us at the board retreat. What does that mean exactly? We don't even know. We're still trying to figure that out. I doubt that we'll do dues this year. I really don't think that's happening. Going forward, I have no idea. We kind of need to understand, what does it mean to be a member of this organization? Do you pay a due? What do you get for that due? You know, including voting on certain issues and board members and whatnot. It's a conversation we need to have, and I'm open to suggestions. Second to last, we're thinking about buying some buttons to show our board members off, especially at places like Spring Fiesta, so you know who you need to talk to at those events. If you want to get something on the agenda, it'll just be like just say board member, so you know who to talk to. Lastly, the communications committee is attempting to reach out to the area schools one of our purposes on our bylaws is to work with schools and education and help. Several years ago, we gave a bunch of Google Chromebooks to Lantrip Elementary and, you know, things like of that nature. So my school is Navarro Middle School. I've reached out to them. I've had a little bit of trouble getting feedback. Everett's got the two high schools, East End and Austin. You know, if anybody has any connections at the schools, I saw we had Cage here earlier. I think Thomas, or they're way back there. Thomas, I think, had very good success reaching them. So we're there with them. And yeah, if you have school contacts, please talk to me afterwards. Thank you.
Question.
Go.
Yep.
You mentioned on your Eastwood Voice, the newsletter, are you looking for our small businesses to advertise in your newsletter to help with cost of that?
That is a good question. I think we have in the past. We don't have a system set up to take payment right now. We don't know how much an advertising blurb would cost. I would say I'm open to it, but nothing is set right now, so. That good? Okay.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so I don't know if Thomas, you want to come talk about mobility real quick?
I won't say much, just because I think we hit on a lot of the projects already, but really the purpose of this committee is to kind of speak to the various mobility projects that are underway. So you heard about sidewalks, we'll talk about Polk in just a bit, or I guess.
March 17th.
Yeah, and Metro is another one. Last year we had some engagement with Metro. Obviously, we are all familiar with Metro and our longstanding relationship with them. Last year, the board invited us to speak with them directly, one-on-one, or, you know, basically ECA Metro board conversation. So that went well. That has opened the lines of communication between our board and Metro. And so we're going to continue to leverage that relationship to let Metro know about our concerns. I will say we're trying to toe the line. Our purpose is to share information, provide you the resources that you need so that you can advocate. We're not necessarily, Polk is an example, the Polk Street closure. We're not going to be the activists in this case. We are just going to share the information. There is an activist arm related to the Polk closure, for example. Same thing with, you know, anything around Metro. We just want to make sure you have the information, you know how to voice your concerns, and stay updated on the things that are going. So that is our intent, and we will continue to do our best to make sure you all have the information that you need.
All right, thank you. Ooh. Go through, so beautification is one, Clay is not here today, so he asked me to share just a couple things. We're gonna be doing our first tree and plant swap at Spring Fiesta, so bring any unwanted plants, cuttings, and baby plants that you're looking to share with neighbors. And we are soliciting feedback. If you have areas in the neighborhood that need shade or canopy to start planting trees, just let us know. We have a few shoe-marked oaks, fringe trees, and beautyberry trees that we can start to share. And the only requirement is that you have permission to plant there and that you want to, and you're able to water it at least while the tree takes root. And that's pretty much it, because the goal, I think, with the beautification is to start to not only help with some of the esplanades and, you know, spruce those up a little bit, but also just to start planting trees throughout the neighborhood so that we can just add to the beautiful trees that we have. So we talked about joining committee, and then we have community announcements. So I've got a lot on here. If you need to take pictures, I just have been collecting them and I figured I would share them. Several civic club meetings that are out there. The Department of Neighborhoods is doing a neighborhood connection forum this Thursday at March 6th. At the ROCKWOI Church on 4101 Broadway Street. So if that's something you're interested in going to, we got the East Side Pit meeting if that's something that you're interested in. We have the Polk Street Town Hall with Houston First on March 17th, which is something that we want to make sure that everybody here goes to learn more about the notice to abandon Polk Street, as well as just answer any questions that you have and voice your opinions. You are into seeing TERS meetings. This is the OST Almeda one, which covers just the very eastern portion of our boundaries. South Central Pitt meeting, the Idawood Civic Club, Third Ward Super Neighborhood in our Easton Joint Super Neighborhood meeting, where we're going to be talking about other situations in our area, the homeless plan, and potentially Project 11, just pending confirmation. Harrisburg TERS and Country Club Place Civic Club meeting. So our next Eastwood meeting is on May 5th because we have a lot of events going on in April. But that's just some areas if you wanted to document those. And I'm not trying to push anybody here, but I do try really hard to keep a list of these events, of everything that's happening. I think that's been something a lot of people ask, where do I go? And I'm like, here, just go to all these that I go to. But before I say, I know that there's a couple community announcements. I know the library wants to say hello, and I don't know if there's anybody else. If you want to come up and say hi real quick. Just be sure to speak here.
Okay, thank you. My name is Dyra. I'm the manager of the Flores Neighborhood Library, and I'm joined by Yadira. She's the assistant manager of the Staniker Library. So as we always say when we come to these meetings, y'all are very lucky to have two really great libraries in this area. I see some of our customers here. So we just wanted to let you know a few things that are happening. In particular, there's a really big spring fiesta that's happening, not at one of our libraries, but our regional library, the Park Place Library, on Saturday, March 8th. So that's gonna be a really big family event. They're gonna have a clown, they're gonna have a puppet show, all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be at the Park Place Library on Saturday, March 8th from 2 to 4. The Flores Library is getting ready to start our Ready Set Bank program. So if you know anybody that is wanting to get more familiar with mobile banking, more comfortable with mobile banking, please send them our way. And we will also have our location calendars available in the back. And I did want to kind of tease one of our events. We are having a Easter egg hunt of our own on the 17th. So if you can't make it to y'all's on Saturday, or come to both. And I'll pass it to you, dear.
Hi, thank you for having us. So for Staniker Library, we are very excited. We're gonna have our first meet and paint on spring break on March the 12th. We actually reached out and invited a local first responder. So you're gonna be painted in canvas while you talk and interact with the first responder from the community, just to get to know about their career, their jobs, their hobbies, and just kind of build that trust between the community and their department. So that's gonna be on the 12th. On the 13th, we're also having our first chess club. So if you know any chess or you like to learn or teach or share your knowledge, probably definitely come on Thursday. And then from there on, it will be on Saturdays. And we also still have our crochet club, all printers and everything is provided. It's a great class if you would like to learn. And yes, thank you for having us.
All right, thank you. All right, so that means we are adjourned. We did it before 8, so this is fantastic. Thank you, everybody.
I know, I told her.
No, it's just we got through it.
When they were talking about, East End and wanting to put a, that was like earlier tonight.
Oh, the Friends of Columbia tap.
They want them to whitewash.